When I was given the opportunity to do a video project about one of my family members, I pretty much automatically knew who I wanted to talk about. I really wanted to talk about my great grandpa. He was alive for a bit while I was younger. He died when I was about 10, but my memories of him are very limited. I remember him being at birthday parties and Christmas, but I just can't remember many interactions with him. I had heard stories of him from my family before, and I wanted to dive deeper into this and hear a bit more about him and see what I can learn. So, one of the first people I thought I would go to was I decided to call my dad.
Well, one of my memories was when I was a kid, probably 11, 12 years old, and my parents would go away for the weekend. They would take us kids over to Grandpa and Grandma's house, and so on the weekend when we were there, Grandpa would always take us to do chores up at the barn, and we'd have to go help feed the horses and pick up hay in the field or whatever. And one of the things when we got to do that is at that age, Grandpa would say, you boys need to start driving and learn how to drive. And so he'd always let us start driving when we were out in the field. And of course, Grandpa let us do whatever we wanted to do, but we'd driving all over the place. And he didn't care if we were doing burnouts in the field, donuts and all that. And one of the greatest memories I have is him just sitting in the passenger seat just laughing and seeing that we were having fun, and he was probably having just as much fun or more than my brother and I on what we were doing out there. And that's just something I always remember. And the other thing is I also have memories of older in life, and he was in his upper 80s, and he would come over to our house for dinner with the family, and every time he was here, he always had a story, and he was such a good storyteller, and he just had that ability to have something that happened over the past couple of weeks in his life, and he'd be able to tell a story in that, and it just everybody would stop to listen, and it was just a gift that he had, and it's just something I always remember. And, I don't have a particular story in mind, but it was always a different one whenever he came, and that's just something I always remembered.
After I learned about some personal experiences my dad had growing up with my great grandpa, I wanted to learn more of what he was like as a person. So I decided to ask my mom a few things about that.
I guess the one thing I wanted to talk about with Grandpa is he just loved people. And a couple things besides just his family that he loved, he just loved people. And he loved to go to Shipshewana all the time. And he had Amish families that he met with and saw all the time regularly. And then in Byron Center, where he lived alongside a bike trail. And by that bike trail, he put a picnic table out for the different people on their bikes or rollerblades to stop and rest or whatever. And there are a lot of times that he would go out and sit at that picnic table and talk to the people, or just see where they were from, see what they were doing, see how their day was going. That's just the type of person he was. He just really loved people, whether they were family or just somebody passing by his house on the bike trail. One of the things I loved about getting together with Grandpa at family events was he always had different little Grandpa-isms, you can call them, that he would say about different things. I mean, he always talked about the Edamas, and he always said, we're tough as nails. That's what he said to all the kids from the day they were born, tough as nails, tough as nails. He was in World War II, and he would talk briefly about things that happened to him, and he had injuries and received the Purple Heart for his service, but when he talked about it, he would have said, what happened to me in the war would have killed any ordinary man. So he just always talked about how tough he was, and, he wasn't just any ordinary man, and just these little fun things. And when he got to be older, he would always say, well, I go grocery shopping, but I don't ever buy green bananas because he never knew how long he was going to live, and he didn't know that he was going to outlive the bananas. So it was just fun little things. He just had a great sense of humor, and you know, he lived on his own until the day he died, and he, you know, we were able to celebrate his 90th birthday with him. So there's just lots of great memories.
After talking to my parents about my great grandpa, I look back and honestly, one of my biggest regrets is not making more memories with him. He just seemed like such a great guy, and at parts of doing this project, it was honestly kind of hard just knowing that, like, here's all these stories of this great man in my family that I never truly got to meet. I mean, sure, I got to see him when I was younger, but I don't know, I was a kid, I wasn't nice. Who is when they were a kid? But now, I would do just about anything to sit down and have a conversation with him.